Firestorm, man.
Nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all this sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
Alright, so we've been seeing the writing on the wall for years now. And gotta say, it's good to be right. This is The Wars and More. I'm Joe, and of course with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey Doug, how you doing this week?
I'm okay, Joe. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm happy we were right.
Yeah, I don't know how happy I am about it, but geez, it's one of those things. It's something. Man, we saw this coming down Broadway for sure.
Yeah,
and I think the events of the last few months have kind of like kicked in the afterburners on the things we were thinking.
Right. I mean, yeah, sure. Maybe I'm not happy about the situation. I mean, a little bit. A little bit because I have a problem with movie theater practices, right?
Oh, sure.
So
we all complain about it, but we all still go, right?
Yeah. So I'm letting my happiness for being right overwhelm my, tentativeness about the way things will be, right?
Right.
So the shot heard round the world for this, and if you haven't caught on to what we're talking about now, we're talking about movie theaters and movies kind of moving away from big theatrical releases.
Yes, we've been talking about this for quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, almost since the beginning of the show.
Right.
But really, when it comes down to it, the shot heard round the world for this came this week, which is Mulan.
Yep.
So Mulan's been delayed multiple times, right? We've talked about it, and this last time we talked about it, we said Mulan was delayed with no date set.
Right.
And we were like, wow, that's strange. You're just saying it's delayed indefinitely. That's odd. That was not something we expected to see.
Sure.
For any of these, because there's several titles from different companies all around that are being delayed. I mean, look at Wonder Woman, look at, Bond. So there's a lot of big films out there being delayed. But Mulan, the latest delay said, delayed indefinitely. I didn't know.
Right.
Well, that's because on September 4th, Mulan will be available on Disney Plus for an additional fee of $29.99. But the film will be going directly to Disney Plus.
Yeah. No movie theater release.
I mean, there'll probably be a theater release when theaters get back to...
Yeah, okay, right. Yeah, I shouldn't say that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's the thing about this that's kind of interesting is that it's not in either or scenario, really. It's cool. I mean...
This is a shot to the exclusive movie theater run.
Yeah.
So they have these, understandings in place that films will be released in theaters. They'll be blocked from home release for this amount of time and let the movie theater run its course.
Right.
This is a direct shot at that. This is...
Yeah, for sure. I think this is the sort of thing that companies like Disney, production houses who actually have their own form of distribution now are going to be like, yeah, you know what? We just don't need you guys anymore kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you want to run our movies, sure. Here are the terms now, because I think that's really where they're kind of heading because, we've heard George Lucas talk about this stuff. If you recall, way back when he was making the Clone Wars, like the early days of the Clone Wars, there was, I how many networks were the Clone Wars on? I mean, you know?
Yeah, and he didn't like having to bow to the networks, essentially.
Exactly. Right. And when it came to the distribution of that kind of thing, I think that's the sort of thing he really, you know, just like we talked about before, and we heard the clip of him talking about the volume and how he kind of imagined this 10 years ago. Well, he was imagining streaming services 10 years ago. You know, if only I could have complete control over distribution as well as production. And, you know, now we're here, and you'd leave it to a company like Disney to, like you said, take the first shot across the bow.
Yeah, and, you know, obviously movie theaters are upset by this.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, you know, they this is gonna affect them financially in a big way.
Yeah.
I mean, presumably, right? Presumably.
I think there's really no other angle to look at it from. I mean, it's not like it's going to help them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It can only decrease, you know, in theater viewership.
Right.
With the way things are right now, there's a lot of people who are going to be kind of tentative about heading out to the theater, you know?
Right. I mean, this is a move that we've been seeing, what we have assumed companies are making a move towards for a long time, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And at the same time, the pandemic has kind of forced their hand. Like they make these big productions, and now they're just sitting there making $0.
Right.
You know, when you invest millions upon millions of dollars into creating a film, you don't want it to just sit there and wait till, we got to wait till things get back to normal.
Yeah, exactly.
We have no idea what back to normal is going to be and when it's going to happen.
Right.
And that's us. That's the regular person. You know, these, you know, representatives for these businesses, they're in the same boat. They have no idea when this is going to get back to normal.
Right. So
yet they have this distribution platform at their disposal that they can put this stuff out there.
Exactly. Executives, they look at, and I'm looking at this from both sides here. You have theater executives saying, we have theaters sitting idle. So what did they do? We talked about The Empire Strikes Back being the highest grossing movie for that particular weekend because theaters were running The Empire Strikes Back as something to go see, right? You weren't getting these brand new blockbuster releases, but they were trying to do something. You can't have those buildings just sitting there idle with no one going to the movies. On the other hand, you have the executives at Disney saying we have X amount of dollars invested in this film, and it's just sitting there idle. In their viewpoint, that much money invested without a return is money lost. So they're trying to figure out. We are in that stage where they're trying to figure out, can this work? Will this be the way to go moving forward, or will it work? And this is what Bob Chapek did say. This is like a one-off deal, but we'll be interested to see how it goes, right?
Yeah.
So,
this is just this one time.
Exactly. But, you know, it's really, it's going to be telling for, you know, all these production houses. Like, I got to be honest, there are, I was excited when I saw the trailer for the Wonder Woman movie, I thought it looked good. I wanted to see it. I liked the first one. And it's been, God, how long now, right?
Right.
They're in the same boat. Who knows? I mean, we're gonna start seeing some new angles tried here. I think we'll see the streaming releases like this. We'll see a hybrid streaming and theater release for some movies, and some maybe just theaters at first. I don't know.
You know what I'd like to see personally?
What's that?
And I'd like to see a hybrid of what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
I understand they just want to see what this is going to do on its own, right?
Sure.
Like that's the crux of it right there. They want to see what this is going to do on its own. But you've got tons of drive-ins operating right now.
Oh yeah.
So I would rather see the drive-ins and stuff like that. Just go ahead and release it theatrically. Some theaters and places are open and operating, with reduced capacities, albeit.
Right.
But just release it.
Sure.
At the same time you're doing this. This gives everybody access, and it gives those who are able to go to theaters access to go see it in theaters.
Right.
Because there is a advantage to seeing something in the theaters. There absolutely is. The big screen, the big sound.
Sure.
Now, granted, the drive-in, you lose the big sound aspect.
Yeah.
But,
really, for the drive-in, I think that's more than anything. It's a night out.
Right.
You get the family together, you pile all 4, 5, 6 into the car. You head there, you pay for a carload of people, and you're in. How did I put it earlier? We were talking. I think what we're gonna see is, I think we agree we're gonna see a resurgence in things like drive-ins, and I think if a theater is going to make it for much longer, it's going to have some sort of value add other than just going to see the movie, and buying $10 popcorn.
Your stadium style seating movie theaters, where you're inches away from the person next to you, and
right.
Things like that's done.
Yeah, for sure.
I think right now, this is the moment. That is dead.
Yes.
Theaters are going to be your around here we have Imagine, right?
Yep.
So it's going to be your Imagine experience, and even our other theater chain around here, MJR, has kind of moved to this.
Yes.
Which is going to be recliner style seating, so you have nice spacing between you and the next person.
Yep.
Adult beverages.
Yeah.
Even fancier stuff for the kids, right? Like
yeah, exactly.
Gimmicky type stuff, right?
Yep.
So more of that kind of stuff, hell, I mean, Imagine even makes money from selling blankets, right? Like you get a blanket to sit on your lap.
Right.
Like it's like watching a movie at home, but at the theater with the big screen and big sound.
Exactly.
So, that's going to be it. It's headed towards that, like we said before. And I think, I don't even know who. We played a clip of someone. It might have been George Lucas or someone like that saying that this was going to become a niche thing.
Oh, right. I don't remember.
And that was, Doug, I got to say, that was probably 2 years ago.
Right. and I have to, that's exactly what I think we're seeing is the beginning phases of that. I think your average everyday theater is on its way out. I mean, I just can't help but feel like, again, everybody is going to head back out to that sort of thing slowly. So how much longer can all these theaters, ride this out? I don't know. I don't know if they'll be able to. And I think people are going to be more inclined to do things like a drive-in, because if nothing else, you can stay in your own car away from others,
I gotta say, and this is kind of an off-road from what we were talking about.
Sure.
But it applies. Okay. So I went out to dinner tonight.
Yeah.
Right, out to a restaurant.
Uh-huh.
Something, we don't get to do as often as we'd like anymore.
Right.
But I went to a restaurant tonight, and of course there's a ton of rules in place, right?
Yeah.
So there's tables that aren't being used. There's separation.
Right.
You have to wear your mask in and out, but that's not really that important for this portion of the story. But I'll tell you what, going out to eat and sitting at a table that is much further apart from other people is quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice. A lot of these restaurants, these tables are, it seems getting closer and closer together.
Oh yeah.
So when you are having a conversation with the people you go out with, because when I go out to dinner, that's it. You set the phone on the table, right? Or in your pocket, or leave it in the car.
Right.
And you have a conversation. You eat dinner. You have, I don't want to have to talk over to people next to me.
Yes.
So I just take that experience and I think about my movie going experience, and I think about when I go see a movie in one of these recliners separated from other people versus when I go see a movie in the stadium style seating, the old ways of seeing a movie.
Right.
I find it much more enjoyable to sit in one of those recliners.
Yep.
Be more relaxed. I can have the person sitting immediately next to me, I can have a quiet conversation about stuff going on without disturbing other people, because we're far enough apart.
Right. And it's funny because as a kid, going to the theater for me was a big deal. Okay.
Right.
And if I was caught talking, wiggling around, whining, whatever, I got in big time trouble for that, because going to the theater was a big deal. I think going to the theater is going to become a big deal again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like this is the beginnings of that. It's I don't know. It's and like you said, it's going to be it might make for a nicer experience for everyone who chooses to do that in the long run. And it's going to be a nicer experience. It's going to be a big deal again. It's going to become more of an event, right? We don't just go to the theater on Tuesday because we're bored.
And so what I'd like to see come from this too is like, look, sometimes you want to see old stuff in theaters again, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So I think there's a benefit to this, because you could do stuff like that, right? There's got to be deals that could be made and things like that.
Absolutely.
The entire catalog could be available to these movie theaters after a certain amount of time. And then, they could run the original trilogy again.
Sure.
They could run the original Superman series or the original Batman series or Ghostbusters or, whatever. Just pick a movie.
Yep.
They could run it for a week or two.
Yeah. Yeah, this could definitely happen.
Because I'll tell you what, there are a lot of movies out there that if you put them back in theaters again, I'd probably go see it.
Sure.
I've seen it 100 times, but I don't care. Theaters are a different experience.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe this will change the movie going experience as a whole as to being, you know, a fun night out as opposed to, oh, I got to see this film first.
Yeah. I think they got kind of stuck in this rut of, you know, each week there's a new blockbuster coming out, you know, it's got to be in our biggest theater, blah, 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 you know. There was once a day that I recall theaters, they would play older movies and it would be midnight on a Friday or a Saturday, you know, but they played it once that week, you know, something like Rocky Horror or something like that. And I mean, when you go to something like that, everybody who's there was there because they wanted to be there. It's not like, you know, well, I'm bored, let's just go see a movie or something. No, everybody who was at that showing wanted to be there. And I think that makes for a completely different experience than, you know, the run-of-the-mill weekly grind.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a silver lining to all this for movie theaters, right? One, you upgrade the experience.
Yep.
Okay, it's more of an experience to go see a movie. You got nicer seating, you know, you're spaced out, you're not crammed in there like sardines,
right?
You know, and think about Halloween, right? You could go see some classic horror films, things like that at the theaters again.
Yes,
that's something I remember. You know, like it would get to Halloween time and they would run Halloween.
Sure.
You know, they'd run Friday the 13th.
Yeah, absolutely.
That happens less and less now. It still happens.
Right.
But they don't have room for it because they just got to run the, you know, 3 movies that came out this month.
Exactly.
And those got to be on every screen all the time, even though no one's in there.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. Those sort of deals were being made. The production houses wanted their movies on a certain number of screens. You know, the theaters got bigger, right? There's 10, 20 screen theaters now. But, you know, our movie, the first 2-3 weeks has to be on 4 of your screens, you know, all the time.
Right.
And it's like, I think the theaters should have the discretion to put it on.
Pull it when it's done.
Exactly. Yes. So,
I mean, this will give them some freedom as well.
Right. If they're smart about it. You know what I'm saying? They've just got to be thinking creatively. Here, take our advice. Yeah. It's free.
Creativity. Now you're asking a lot.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, they need to think creatively to kind of counter what's happening here with what Disney's doing. I mean,
right.
We do. I'm gonna jump to this other point we have.
Oh, before you go there, I just like to point out we've made this comparison before to live theater, right? Like Broadway shows, things like that.
Yes, for sure.
You know, like if for the right products, people will make return trips, you know, every couple years, things like that, because they enjoy it. You know, I've seen Phantom of the Opera 5 times. They haven't changed the story.
Right.
Yeah, okay, it's different actors, things like that. So the experience ends up being a little different every time.
Yep.
But the story is the same.
Exactly.
I've seen it 5 times at way higher prices than I pay for a movie theater.
Yep.
So this is something they could do.
It is.
They could run classics and people will come see it.
Yep.
You just have to, you know, it'll be a shorter run. You're not going to run it for, 3 months.
Well, you know, you mentioned Halloween. I mean, last week of September, I mean, you could start running the Halloween movies, right? You run a showing on the weekend every week leading up to the holiday. May could be Star Wars month. You know, we're going to show a couple episodes of the Star Wars films every week throughout the month of May. You know, I
mean, the only problem for movie theaters in this is they'll have to try, right? So they'll have to advertise their own stuff.
Yes.
and they won't be able to rely on, Disney advertising the Rise of Skywalker.
Right.
So yeah, okay, you're going to have to do a little work.
I was just going to say, yeah, all they had to say before was in theaters now.
Yeah. And that meant all of them.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So there's challenges.
There are.
But get creative, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Do fun stuff. People will come to fun stuff. Just saying. Just saying.
Totally. So,
I mean, you mentioned Rocky Horror, and Rocky Horror is its own thing, right? They've got their own following. They got this own crazy thing that goes on.
Right.
So, and that's in movie theaters or live shows or whatever.
And
there's a following.
I don't know that I've seen too much of that, as of late, like over the past few years, like I used to. So,
no, that used to be a every year thing.
That used to be like a all the time thing. I mean, if I recall correctly, there was one theater in particular, they played it at midnight on Saturday or something like that every week. And it was always packed. So, yeah. But,
and people dress up to go see that.
Yes.
There's plenty of cult classic films and things like that out there that you can do this kind of stuff with.
Yep.
I mean, that have their followings. I mean, you can have some fun with this and make some money along the way. Yeah. Just saying.
Right.
All right. You were going on to the next.
Yeah, this plays right into it, right? This is so apparently AMC and Universal have, they've come up with a deal here. And under this deal, let's see, I'm reading here. Under the terms of the deal, Universal will be allowed to put movies on digital platforms after just 17 days of theatrical release, or a movie's third weekend. That's instead of the customary 60 to 75 days. In exchange, the studio will share an undisclosed portion of on-demand rental proceeds with AMC. This, so we're talking about getting creative, right? This,
I still think this is a bad deal.
Well, I was just going to say, this appears more to me like a giant corporate decision to try and let's just get as much money coming in as we can as we're like, falling over the cliff here.
Yeah, I was going to say this is a last ditch effort because we said before, like, along with this change, the big movie theater chains, they're in trouble.
Yes.
Okay, because what we were talking about before with, running Halloween movies at Halloween time, things like that, and advertising locally. This is going to be something a local movie chain or movie theater can do.
Right.
If you're waiting on orders from corporate, this is not something a corporate chain can, organize.
Exactly.
So you can't be an AMC and, be coordinating all these local events all over the world.
Right. Exactly. That's you would have to leave it to your local, let's say the theater manager or somebody like that. Someone who knows the area, knows what people are interested in. Someone with their finger on the pulse of that region, and
which is not something corporations are prone to doing.
No, they like cookie cutter.
Yeah.
If we could do it this way, the same everywhere, it's faster, easier, cheaper. Go.
Yeah, and this kind of thing right here. Like, this is, like you said, a last ditch effort to try and save a dying trade.
Yep.
The local movie theaters are going to come back, man. The small one-off, not part of a chain movie theaters are going to come back.
And those are going to be the ones that are doing the kind of things that we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think it's going to be maybe a resurgence of drive-ins along with little independent theaters. And then this will probably still be under a corporate chain style umbrella, but your high-end theater experience.
Yeah. Which, yeah, I see this as a good thing. This is, I don't like the, let's see what's at the theater this weekend. And, you look it up, it's like, wow, it's all the same stuff that was in there when we went and saw this,
Right.
And I don't.
Yes.
Yeah. There needs to be options for spur of the moment. Let's go see a movie.
Yep.
And lately there's less and less of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you either don't care about certain films that have been released, because that's the thing.
Oh yeah.
Everybody knows that there's a ton of movies that it's not for you.
Right.
So this will allow a little more variety and would probably actually increase movie theater traffic as a whole. Yeah, okay, you're going to have less, crowded events all the time. But I think you'd have more consistent traffic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think
less sporadic.
Yeah. I think we're gonna, we're definitely living, in interesting times, and I don't know. I think people are going to want a new and different experience because, in some ways,
that new experience is the old way.
Right? Yeah. Well, yes.
Coronavirus is literally knocking us back into the Stone Age, proverbially.
And in some ways, when you think about it, I mean, really, there's a lot of families who barely saw each other until they had to, and then they're sitting down and playing board games. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think there's a lot of that, and I think it can branch out into other things as well, including what we're talking about here at the theaters. So, yeah,
it's funny you say that, because as a board game enthusiast, I really love what this has done to the board gaming industry. Because, man, there's some new stuff coming out that's just awesome.
Oh, cool.
Awesome looking. Like it is ramped up the board game industry because people are at home, people are playing games,
Absolutely.
So yeah, there's good changes coming from a bad situation.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it.
Have something to add to the conversation, or you just want to let us know how we're doing? Email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best place to get in on the action. But if social media is a little more to your liking, @TheWarsandMore on Twitter is always a good place to interact with us, and we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/TheWarsandMore. And of course, your portal to this and everything else, The Wars and More, is thewarsandmore.com.
So normally when we take that moment to let you know where you can find us, we switch topics. Not today.
Oh, I like that.
Today we got more to talk about. If you thought 30 minutes was enough, you were wrong. So Disney Plus, right?
Yeah.
This ties into this in so many ways. So Disney Plus has surpassed 60 million subscribers.
Right.
Huge milestone.
It
right?
is.
Like,
yeah.
And most of it, I would say it would be, thank you, Mandalorian.
Yeah. And I think what was I think they've gained something like 3.5 or 4 million since April, something like that. If that's any kind of indication.
Thank you, coronavirus.
Right.
Well, anyway, like, so one thing I wanted to point out here is, right, we were talking about that Mulan release.
Yep.
At $30 a pop, so $29.99. Why we can't use round numbers is just
I don't know.
crazy to me. Yeah. I mean, I guess you feel like you're saving some money because it's not $30.
Hey, penny saved is a penny earned.
Marketing, man, marketing.
That's right.
But so just think about this for a moment. Like, if they could get 10 million of those 60 million subscribers to pay that, right?
Yeah.
That is gross, albeit $300 million.
Right.
So
yeah. 300
as a
million.
gross, I don't know what the net would be after that, and if it would be comparable. When you consider overhead, things like that.
There are going to be some differences. I mean, when you really sit back and think about it, because you don't have theaters taking their cut.
Right.
That's a big one, I would imagine.
And you're using a platform that you're already accounting for when you make a big release like The Mandalorian Season 2, which is coming up, right?
Right.
You already have a system in place to account for tons of people hitting it at the same time.
Yeah, because that's something that you can imagine you would probably have when you have a big movie release like what they're talking about doing with Mulan. They have to be prepared for their servers getting hit all at once.
Right.
Boom.
So that would be an infrastructure you would assume is already in place.
Right.
And accounted for in their subscription. So that's costs that are already covered.
I could see them beefing it up a little bit for this movie Mulan release, but they know how,
Right.
So
and with what you got, and okay, if this is going to become a new thing,
yes,
that would already be a thing that would be in place.
Yes,
ready to rock.
Yep.
So their overhead is going to shrink significantly.
Yeah.
Promotion, right? If you have 60 million subscribers, you throw a thing up on your main page that Mulan is coming in such and such days. If you got 60 million subscribers, you assume that those subscribers are checking in on Disney Plus on a semi-regular basis. Right. So they're going to see your advertisement.
Right.
You're going to cut your advertising budget.
True.
I mean, it is the perfect storm.
Yeah, it kind of is. I mean, this is going to be interesting, and I think they are paying really close attention. They are taking notes as to just how well this is going to do. For me, I wish this was something different other than Mulan. It looks interesting, and I might be in the minority here, but it's just I think they could. If they were doing this with something, I don't know, different.
I think this is an age group thing here because Mulan is one of those things. Like, I was a little older when Mulan came out, but I was still, I still enjoyed watching Disney movies.
Right.
I had younger siblings, things like that.
Sure.
So sitting down to watch a Disney movie was still extremely enjoyable for me.
Oh yeah.
Because one, I'm the older brother sitting down with, my younger sister, my younger brother, watching these films. There's enjoyment that comes from that. So, so Mulan, I like this. I'm excited for this release. I want to see this film.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that's an age group thing. But,
sure.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from though. It could they could do it with something that has a broader reach.
Right.
Something that would grasp more people of all ages.
Yeah,
because
I guess
I
that's
really
what I'm
think
getting at.
Mulan is an age group thing. There's people who loved Mulan because that's something they grew up with.
Sure.
And then younger kids are all jacked about anything Disney that comes out.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. So I guess from my point of view, I'll be interested to see what the numbers are, because from my point of view, you're talking 1 in 6 subscribers ordering this thing. You know, from my point of view, that seems a little optimistic.
Oh, it's super optimistic.
But maybe it could happen. So
yeah, it's super optimistic, but yeah, I do consider that this is a Disney focused platform, right?
Right.
So Disney releases are going to be successful.
Oh, sure. Sure.
So I don't think 1 in 6 is that unbelievable, considering that it is a focused platform.
Right.
If we were on Netflix trying this, yes, I think your percentage of people buying into this is going to be much lower than a 1 in 6. Now, granted, Netflix has a greater subscription base, but that's neither here nor there.
Right. I guess, okay, so we talked about other movies, right? So earlier, something that I personally am more excited to see is the Wonder Woman movie when it, so if they were doing this with that movie, I'd be a little more excited about it.
Right. That would be like a DC Universe thing or something like that.
Something like that. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of what I'm getting at, is like where's the, they don't have quite the Disney Plus market share, or the
much lower.
So that's not going to work with that movie,
But they could end up reaching into a market share kind of like this with a move like that if this is successful.
Yes.
Don't think for 1 second that DC Universe isn't watching this.
They are watching, absolutely watching. Yes. Because they could do the same sort of thing across many streaming platforms.
Right.
I mean, why not? Use every avenue. Yes, you'll have to give the streaming service a cut, but I'm sure that cut would be far less than the movie theater cut.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't think the movie theater cut's that great. That's why they charge $10 for a box of candy. So,
well,
I don't think the movie theater cut's as lucrative as some people think, but that's another topic.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we're not business execs here.
Exactly.
But one thing that, and just to keep moving along a little bit. So Disney, one thing that might be forcing their hand here is, they just shared, they have a loss of $3.5 billion over this quarter?
Yeah, for the most recent fiscal quarter. Yeah.
So, yeah, this is probably kind of forcing the whole let's try something.
It most certainly is. I'm going to just throw that out there. Yeah. This is definitely the move where they're saying, okay, we've been sitting on our hands long enough. Let's try something. Yes. We're going to, it's going to work or it's not, and we're going to find out. I think there's been a lot of speculation that if Mulan is successful, the next thing we might be seeing is Black Widow. But they're not
now that you put that out
there yet.
now that you put that out there, there is your test movie, right?
Agreed. Personally, yes.
You know, from the aspect of reaching a broader audience, Black Widow would have been your perfect test for this.
Yeah.
Because you're going to reach a much broader audience than Mulan.
Right.
Like I said, still excited about Mulan, and I'm probably going to pay for this. But
yeah, heck yeah. I think I don't know. I think you know, they I don't know. They're not confirming that this is the case. I don't know that they've denied it necessarily, but I think they are definitely looking at it, and you know, they'll watch the results, and if it works for Mulan, I think we could see it for Black Widow. You know,
well, let's be real. I mean, and not to use terms like this, but I mean, it'd be stupid not to look.
Oh yeah, you're right.
It would be stupid not to look at broadening this if it works.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. I think we've harped on this movie theater thing long enough, right? We made it 45 minutes now.
Yeah. It's worth talking about, though. So
it is, and it's something we've talked about for years.
Yes.
You know, and to see this kind of rolling out at this point, like it's like, hey, yeah, nailed it,
right?
I mean, we're not business execs, right? We don't know, like, so for us to say something and then it's like, oh wow, it's happening.
Yeah,
we got to do it.
That's right.
All right. So, TikTok. Everybody heard of TikTok?
Yeah.
So, TikTok in the news, but not for this. But we're going to talk about this. So, there's a video out there created by a user. The user is Fake Disney Facts. Right?
Okay. Yep.
Fake Disney Facts made a video about the titles for the Star Wars saga. And the video is, Star Wars essentially is titled wrong. And you can switch the titles around and it makes more sense, right?
Right.
So let's take a listen to what Fake Disney Facts here had to say about the Star Wars titling.
This is why every Star Wars film has the wrong title. What happens in Episode 1? We meet Anakin Skywalker, The Rise of Skywalker. Years later, we find out that Palpatine, leader of the Sith, have ordered an army to destroy the Jedi. Revenge of the Sith. In Episode 3, Order 66 happens and the clones attack. Attack of the Clones. In Episode 4, Obi-Wan teaches Luke that it's time for the Jedi to return. Return of the Jedi. In Episode 5, Yoda teaches Luke how to use the Force. The Force Awakens. In Episode 6, both Yoda and Anakin die, which makes Luke the last Jedi. After the Empire is destroyed, a new Empire comes. The Empire strikes back. Come on, guys. In Episode 8, Luke trains Rey and then sacrifices himself to give the Resistance a new hope. Finally, in Episode 9, Palpatine returns from the dead, making him the Phantom Menace. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Lucasfilm, hire me, please.
I like his plea at the end there.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's cute, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's I guess this is what you could call looking at the titles of these films from a different point of view, right?
Yeah, which is something that, Lucasfilm has a lot of fun with lately. Lucasfilm, Star Wars, Disney, they have a lot of fun with that kind of thing lately.
Right.
So, yeah, it's an interesting perspective. Hindsight being 2020, some of those make sense.
Right.
Some of those are like dead on. Like, I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Return of the Jedi being the last Jedi, like, yeah, that kind of really hits, right? Like,
Sure.
Luke is the only Jedi at that moment,
Right.
that you know of.
But-
So,
I don't know. Hey,
yeah. I mean,
it was fun, but
It's fun.
I think, if I don't know, it was all just fun. We'll just put it that way.
well, I will say Mark Hamill gave it his stamp of approval.
Oh, that's real funny.
So Mark Hamill retweeting this video, says, "Now it all makes sense." And he hashtagged it, "Everything you thought you knew is wrong."
Oh, nice. Very similar to one of his lines there in Last Jedi. I like that.
So, yeah, there's Mark again taking a step away from Star Wars. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, and let's take this as a moment to not get there's no reason to get angry about this video, right? Like,
No, not at all.
I've seen a lot of that. I've seen a lot of overly serious people like, oh yeah, they've really screwed up. Like, come on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So this is not a matter of people screwing up.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of people being wrong for sharing a fun video.
I will say this. Okay. I'm thinking back to episode 1. Okay. When we first learned the title of that episode, it was like, okay, we had A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and then The Phantom Menace. It was like, what? But after you see the film and you sit back and you think about how the title works with the film, it makes sense then. It doesn't have to make sense ahead of time necessarily. Yeah,
it doesn't have to make sense when you finish episode 9.
Right.
It has to make sense when you release that movie.
Yes.
And The Phantom Menace is, honestly, if I'm going to say, I think The Phantom Menace is one of the best titled Star Wars films of all of them. Because The Phantom Menace really, really says what it's about, right? You've got Palpatine, this guy who is working against everybody, but no one knows he's the bad guy.
I was going to say, even at the end of the film, you don't know.
Yeah, no one knows. And even John Williams, if you've listened to the David Collins panels that he's done at Star Wars Celebration or his soundtrack show episode on this, even at the end, John Williams puts a stamp on that, right? Like, you've got this celebration music that is just the Emperor's theme in a major key.
Right.
Like,
yes.
The Phantom Menace is literally the perfect title for that film because he is already orchestrating events and no one knows he's bad.
Exactly.
They're actually praising this guy. So, Phantom Menace, yeah, that's pretty accurate.
I like it.
So that's the one I like that I took issue with the most. I'm like, that's in my opinion, one of the best named Star Wars films.
Yeah. I will say, when you first heard it back in 99, you're like, that seems like a departure from the other naming conventions that we had for the original trilogy.
Right.
But when you watch the movie and you've seen it and you think about how the title goes with the movie, it makes sense. So,
Oh, there's a total aha moment with that, right? Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Like, I get it now.
Right. Yeah.
So pretty good. Pretty good.
Totally.
But yeah, this was a fun video. I liked it. I chuckled at it. I like the idea. This is what we do, right? We have fun.
Absolutely. For sure.
Let's have some damn fun. So everybody on Twitter, let's stop taking this shit so seriously.
Good luck.
Just saying, it's about fun. This guy did this in fun. He didn't do it to like start a storm of bull crap.
We could only hope, right?
No, I mean, you listen to the end of it. Lucasfilm, please hire me. You know,
yeah.
This guy was having fun. So
Totally.
So props to him. Enjoy it. Good fun. All right. Star Wars Squadrons. We've talked about it a lot. This is probably the Star Wars video game that we've been honestly most excited for in the past years, right?
Yeah.
Just because, man, we love flying Star Wars ships.
Right, for sure.
So this is just a little note. So Star Wars Squadrons will be playable on PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, which are the new consoles presumably coming at the end of this year.
Okay.
But it'll be playable as backwards compatibility.
Oh.
So they are not making a separate version of this game to take full advantage of the new hardware.
Wow. Interesting. So, I guess it's a good thing, right?
Well, I mean, good thing, bad thing. I think this is not a good thing, bad thing situation. One, you're going to be able to play it on the next gen console.
Right.
Good thing.
Good thing. Right. That's what I mean.
Right. So if you get the next gen console, you'll still be able to play this game when you buy it. Bonus.
Right.
Bad thing is, it's not going to take advantage of your new console.
Yeah.
But if you're buying it before then, are you really looking to take advantage of the next gen? Let's be real.
True. Okay. Well,
but basically my point is here, don't hold off on Star Wars Squadrons because you want to wait for the next gen console. That's pointless.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
So if you're in that camp like, oh, I'm going to wait because I'm going to get the new console.
Right.
There's no point in waiting. Do your thing.
Gotcha. Good to know. Definitely good to know.
Yeah, I mean, and, you know, honestly, looking at the game and seeing how we mentioned how arcadey it looked, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel like they really necessarily need to take advantage of the new hardware graphically.
I think I see what you're saying. It's like,
with the way they're headed with that, I don't think they need to wait to take advantage of the new graphics.
Yeah. It
would be good to
enough.
take advantage of new frame rates and stuff, but
sure. Well, yeah. Huh. Interesting. See, I don't know. From my layman's point of view, you know, I'm thinking to myself, it's like, well, you know, this game is coming out so close to the release of the console. How come they just didn't develop the new game for the new console? You know, but you know,
my guess is this game has been in the works for much longer than we think.
That could very well be.
So it's not a matter of like, oh, they decided last year to start making this game. No, this game's been in the works for a while. Just waiting for the right time to release it.
Yeah.
I think what we're looking at here is a case of EA was very ambitious in the beginning. They had all these ideas. It's taken longer than they thought to bring those ideas to fruition. But we're seeing those ideas come to fruition, and they're going to be caught up at this point because I feel like EA is taking Star Wars gaming seriously now after Fallen Order.
Right.
I feel like before Fallen Order, they weren't taking it that seriously. And maybe it's not even Fallen Order that did that. Maybe it was the situation that happened with Battlefront 2.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think too.
And Battlefront 2, they were able to take a bad situation that they created, completely turn it around, make people love that game again, and make people excited about Star Wars gaming again after doing something that really pissed everyone off.
Yeah.
So it was a good rebound, and I think it made them start to take Star Wars gaming seriously.
Yeah. All indications are, I mean, you have, Fallen Order and now Squadrons. It appears as though they've listened and, as you say, the way you put it is take Star Wars gaming seriously. They're paying attention to what Star Wars gamers want, and
yeah, because I mean, it's already been rumored a sequel to Fallen Order is already in the works, right? So, I mean, it's rumor, but they are taking this seriously now going forward, and we may see another Battlefront game. I wouldn't even say may. We will see another Battlefront game, in my opinion. But I think another reason why they're taking it seriously is initially it was like Battlefront was going to be an every year thing, like Call of Duty,
Right.
And they've now stepped back from that, and they're going to take that a little more seriously and put a little more into it than just a reprint every year.
Yeah, which is good because, this whole universe, the Star Wars thing we got going on here, for most of us, it goes a little deeper than, a generic war story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, it's deeper is the right way to put that. Star Wars fans want content.
Yeah, for sure.
We really, really want content. But we don't just want content for content's sake.
Exactly. It's got to be good content.
Good content.
Yes.
If it takes you a year or more, so be it. Wait.
Yes.
Sure, we'll bitch about it.
Exactly.
But when push comes to shove, even though we complained, we show up in the end.
That's right.
So
that's right.
And I think EA has figured that out, and they're heading the right direction. So
awesome.
I would anticipate there's going to be some good stuff coming from Star Wars on the next gen consoles. We don't need Squadrons to be that first one.
Right on.
Don't need it. And it'll still be playable. So
right.
It's not like they're completely shunning you. All right. Last thing. Gina Carano, known as Cara Dune.
Yeah.
In Star Wars. Well, she's under fire.
Yes. This is it's a very unfortunate situation, right?
Yeah.
So I don't even know where to start with this.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough situation, right?
Yeah.
Like, we are in turbulent times.
Yes.
To say the least. And anything you do on social media is under scrutiny.
Right.
And Gina Carano found out she's no exception. So you're going to get scrutinized for everything you do, even if your heart is, and I'll say presumably, in the right place. Because presumably, looking at everything she said and what she's posted, I feel like her heart's in the right place.
I have to completely agree. I think she seems to be a very caring person, and also one who's going to stand by her convictions, which very admirable these days.
Well, I mean, let's be real here. I mean, if you're an MMA fighter, giving up ground is not your thing.
This is true. Yes, this is true. So I many of you may have already heard about, what she quote unquote did, right? But she posted a picture on Twitter, and in the picture there's many men saluting the Nazi salute this is from the 40s, this picture, I'm assuming late 30s or 40s. And in the middle of the frame, there's one man who is not. Okay. I think that might have been the part missed. I don't know, but
yeah, there is one man not saluting.
Correct.
Amongst a group of Nazis.
Right. So later on, she posts heartbreaking and powerful story of a man who changed his ways for the woman he loved. Love changes the world one person at a time. So I don't know.
Wow. Shun this woman.
Exactly.
Look, I look at it this way. If no one can change, then what's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
What's the point? I mean, the point is that people can change.
Yes.
Things can improve. Things
Yes.
can get better. I think that is the message here.
I think so too.
I don't want to speak for her.
No,
I think
but-
she's speaking for herself pretty clearly.
And admirably, yes.
The point is there's one guy standing out in a very, very bad,
Crowd.
time in
Yeah.
history,
Yeah.
right? There's one guy not like in Nazi Germany, not saluting like that.
Yeah, that could get you disappeared.
Yeah, that could get you dead. Okay. That is a very bold thing to do.
Right.
It's never easy to be the one that doesn't go along, right?
Yeah. And
I think her point is like, you don't have to go along with the status quo if it's wrong,
exactly.
and love is the point here, right?
Yeah.
Love can change everything. Love can change a person, an individual. So yeah, people can change. Things can change.
Right.
That's the point.
So I guess.
And if things can't change, what's the point of doing anything?
Exactly. I guess I just don't understand. How I don't know. I don't want to get deep into the weeds on it, but
Right. This is not a political show. Or
exactly,
anything like that.
exactly. And by going further into this, we run the risk of going that way. But look into this for yourself if you haven't heard of it. But I guess I just wish that, Twitter doesn't seem to be the place for this, but nuance, people. Let's, there can be nuance in
Yeah,
things.
I think that the red circle around a person who's not, performing a Nazi salute is indicative of the post. It's not support for Nazi Germany.
Right. Exactly.
And it's being taken as support of Nazi Germany. I don't understand that logic.
Well, yeah.
The point being called out is the lack of support for that.
Right. So, yeah. As far as Gina Carano goes, though, I love the way she's handled this because she has stood her ground and not like I don't know. She's been very tasteful about how she's handled it. I don't know. The word is I'm looking for.
She has been. She's been very tasteful, not insulting,
Right.
but strong.
But strong. Exactly.
And, you know, we've talked about her being that strong female character in The Mandalorian. Well, she's that strong female character in real life.
There you go. That's the best way to put it.
And I've said this before. Gina Carano and Cara Dune are badass.
Yes, for sure.
So that's where we'll leave that. Like,
Yes.
you know, you can form your own opinion. You know, if we're wrong, whatever, we're wrong. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But I don't think this is the case right now.
Right,
I
exactly.
think this is a misunderstanding. A jump to conclusions
yep.
and unfair to Gina Carano.
Absolutely.
But that is not the only news that is surrounding Gina Carano right now.
No. This one is actually a little on the lighter side, so that's good.
Yeah, let's end on a high note.
So, the headline here is the rumored star Sasha Banks challenges Gina Carano to step in the ring with her. Now, that doesn't necessarily sound real good, right? But, she tweets, and just like that, I want to go whoop your ass too. You wouldn't last in my universe, but you're welcome to try. That's Sasha, talking to Gina, right? And she responds with a nope from a meme apparently here, right? And then we get Katie Sackhoff chiming in, I want in on the fun. You ladies would both kick my ass. So
True.
What's really cool about this though is that it is rumored that Sasha Banks plays Sabine Wren in season 2 of The Mandalorian. So all of this interaction, along with Katie Sackhoff chiming in, kind of lends a little credence to this rumor. I mean, it's like they're all chummy. How'd they get so chummy, right? I mean, and to all be in the same circle here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think? You think this is kind of like, I don't know, helping the rumors out?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if it was between, Sasha Banks and Gina Carano, okay.
Right.
WWE star calls out MMA fighter. We've seen this before.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Yeah. They run in those circles. Yes.
But then you got Katie Sackhoff chiming in.
Right.
Now we got something going on here.
Exactly. Yes.
So whether it's just them playing in the rumor mill, which could be,
maybe,
could be, or them just having fun because now they're friends because they've worked together.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm kind of getting that vibe, which, hey, makes for an encouraging, I don't know, makes me look forward to The Mandalorian even more. Kind of like, we get this little tease of a rumor here, right? And this little, I don't want to call it a confirmation, but a nudge towards things, the rumors might be true. And I just can't wait to see season 2 now to see if all these rumors were true.
Right. And I'll tell you what, if they wanted me to get to watch WWE, a rivalry like that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Two people who act together in The Mandalorian, now going to duke it out in the ring.
Right.
But at the same time, I think you got to be fair here. I think you got to go over to the UFC.
Oh, ooh. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because they're both there's a lot of skill in both, right?
Yes.
But it's skill in different ways, and I think either would have a hard time in the other's domain.
Trade.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, for sure. And that's not immediately dismissing Sasha Banks either.
No.
Because she is a very, very athletic, very strong woman.
Right.
And even in MMA, she's going to be somewhat formidable.
Oh, sure.
And, learning all the choreography and things like that, she's going to be able to learn how to fight for real.
Exactly.
If she doesn't already know. I don't know too much about her. She may already have experience.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I'm just saying, you got to be fair, right? Like, you got to go to all three.
All three. Nice. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, the Mandalorian's got to be in there.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
That's the most important one.
I just like seeing this kind of stuff, after all the negative stuff with Gina Carano. This is joking around back and forth. This is this is nice to see. I don't know.
Oh no, and I think she should absolutely take her up on the WWE thing. I mean, it's fun, right? Like,
absolutely.
I mean, WWE is just that. It's fun.
Totally.
We all know it's not real. I know that'll trigger some people.
What?
It's not real? What do you mean it's not real?
Yeah.
I mean, there's blood, man. Have you seen the blood?
Right.
There's blood in the Mandalorian. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that would be fun. And especially given the idea of them working together on a film.
Yeah.
So, hey, that's one thing that WWE is good for sure, is they are really good at getting involved in everything whatsoever, no matter what.
Yes.
I mean, whether it's film, MMA, football, like
politics.
Yeah, politics, business.
Yeah.
TV. Like, they always seem to bring everybody in from everywhere and have them involved. It is crazy showmanship.
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, if you have anything to add to any of that, I'm sure some might. You can always email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. It's the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on social media. We're at The Wars and More on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsandmore. You can find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsandmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right. We will talk next week.